When you track all your macros to reach specific fitness milestones, eating outside may be challenging. Most restaurants offer food with abundant ingredients, making it challenging to stay strictly on track with your macronutrients. At those exact moments, the pleasant restaurant invitation from a loved one may be one of your biggest nightmares. In this short guide, we'll give you many options and actionable tips, which you can apply to make the best out of your nights when dining outside, without sacrificing any progress. Now, let's get to it. Check your options. As we already mentioned, restaurant meals usually contain many ingredients, meaning you must pick the most easily trackable food. That would generally be a meal that has 4 main ingredients, such as crispy chicken with potato mash and sauced beef steak with sweet potatoes and broccoli fish risotto. If you choose this route, you generally have to use a calorie tracking tool, such as MyFitnessPal, to get a rough estimation of your calories. Now, even if the meal has more than 4 ingredients, your best bet would be to track the ones with the most significant volume. In most restaurants, meals have one animal-based product, such as meat and garnish, potatoes, rice, fresh or cooked vegetables, etc. 5 tips and acknowledgements for dining out. Fitting an outside meal into your daily nutrition plan is just a fraction of what you should focus on while dining. If you break outside the macro tracking robot box, you'll realize a couple of things. Number 1. Night time equals recovery time. The human biological clock makes us naturally more active throughout the day and less active after the sun sets. What this means is that the best recovery occurs during the night. Your cortisol, stress, levels are at their lowest at night, meaning the body is primed to recover and absorb nutrients. This means you can have a big meal when dining out, as that will support your recovery, especially if you are an active trainee. To put it simply, low cortisol plus plenty of food equals optimal recovery. And yes, eating big meals after 6 p.m. is not bad. Number 2. Food preparation. Alright, besides the type and amount of food you have on your plate, a very important thing to factor in is how the food was prepared. Indeed, when you want to get the best out of your dinner, you look for the highest quality nutrients. How your food is prepared plays a major role in the quality of the nutrients provided. Your best bet here would be to avoid deep-fried and heavily treated foods, as aggressive thermal treatment may disrupt the structure of the nutrients. Instead, focus on slow-cooked foods that have not undergone extreme treatment. Number 3. Focus on meat. One of the biggest concerns regarding macronutrient tracking when eating outside is not setting yourself off of your goals too much. In other words, that would mean going overboard with your caloric intake. Binging is usually a bodily response associated with food that is not satiating due to poor nutrient content. This is exactly why food like chips and ice cream is likely to make you fat, not because those are inherently fattening foods, but because they are poor in nutrients and, thus, won't leave you satiated, making you eat more. The best way to avoid this is to focus on nutrient-dense foods that have a high satiety index and are highly bioavailable. Those are namely animal products, such as meat, organs, eggs, cheese and other dairy products, fish and other seafood. Now, even though those foods contain plenty of protein and fat that will keep you full for hours, there is one other, non-animal, food product that has a huge satiety index. Drumroll please. Potatoes. No, this isn't a joke though. Potatoes are a root crop. They have one of the highest satiety indexes. That is to say that your best bet would be to make meat and potatoes the core of your meal and then add other low-calorie garnishes, such as vegetables. Number 4. Don't track it. You see, dining out with someone is supposed to be a time where your attention, energy and mood goes and is shared with the one you are dining with. If you're obsessed with your macronutrients and calories, you might as well rob yourself of the opportunity to spend good time with a loved one. For this reason, you can think ahead of schedule and leave yourself a calorie window. The best way to do this is to track all your nutrition prior to your dinner and cutting some of the calories, in order to leave more room for a bigger dinner. For instance, leaving 800 calories worth of food for dinner will make it highly unlikely for you to go overboard, even if you don't track the dinner. So you see, this is just another way to look at things and make everything more flexible. Number 5. Consume high-volume foods with the goal of a meal being enjoyment, nourishment and satiation. One of the best calorie-sparing things you can do on a night out is to consume high-volume foods. Those are namely greens and other vegetables that have a low calorie content, but are high in fiber and therefore make you more satiated. This is especially valid in case you are on a weight loss diet, because it will allow you to spare calories and remain in a deficit, while not burning yourself out with hunger. Combining high-volume, low-calorie foods with protein and fat-rich animal products is probably the best way to go about your calorie-sparing meal. Take-home message: when your goal is to make the best out of a night out without ruining your progress, there are a couple of things to do. Focus on nutrient-dense food. Satiety is your best friend when it comes to avoiding calorie overconsumption. Pick a meal with plenty of animal products, along with a volume-dense salad. Don't stress it: one big meal won't ruin your progress, especially if it is full of good nutrients. Stressing about your night out can actually be worse than the overconsumption itself. Enjoy your meal, have a good time, and stay on track in the long term.